Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're diving into AI image editing, and specifically a model called OMNI-EDIT.
Ah, yeah, this is a really cool one.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like revolutionary, so I'm pretty excited to get into it.
Yeah.
So, I guess to start off, can you just for people who haven't heard of this sort of thing before, explain what we mean by instruction-based image editing?
Sure. Yeah. So, basically, imagine, being able to just tell an AI using just normal words how to change a picture, like make this brighter, make this background something different, that kind of thing.
Oh, that's cool.
It'll just do it.
So, how is that different from traditional image editing?
So traditional image editing, you have to manually go in and select things and change colors and all that.
Right.
This, you just tell it what to do.
Oh, that sounds way easier.
Yeah, it is way easier, but it can be limited sometimes.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. So earlier attempts at instruction-based editing weren't as smooth.
So what were the main challenges they ran into?
So one of the biggest ones was that previous models would often struggle with certain types of edits. So they might be really good at swapping faces, but then if you ask them to change the whole background, they'd completely fail.
Oh, so very specialized.
Yeah, very specialized.
Not very flexible.
Right, not very flexible.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then also these early models often required you to use very specific image formats, like small square images,
Okay.
which isn't very practical, when you're dealing with high-res photos or panoramic landscapes or just different shapes.
Yeah, that doesn't sound very useful.
Not very useful.
So there was a real need for something that was a bit more versatile and could handle a wider range of edits.
Exactly, and that's where OMNI-EDIT comes in.
Okay, so this is the star of the show.
Yeah, this is the star of the show.
All right, so tell me a little bit about what makes this one so special.
Okay, so there are four main things that the researchers highlight.
Okay, lay on it.
So first off, it learns from specialists.
Okay, that sounds cool. So does it have little AI tutors or something?
Not quite tutors, but it learns from 7 different specialist models. Mm-hmm. So these models are each an expert in a specific type of image edit.
Oh, so a team.
Yeah, it's like a team.
Okay.
You've got one that's really good at replacing objects, one that's good at adjusting colors, stuff like that.
So it's a team of specialists all working together to make sure the edit is really good.
Exactly.
Okay, that's a good start. I'm impressed already. But what else?
Okay, so another one, and this is a little bit more technical, but it uses something called importance sampling.
Okay. I'm not really a technical person, but explain it to me.
So basically, it acts like a quality control filter during training.
Okay.
So instead of learning from every single edit, it picks out the best ones.
Oh, so it's kind of filtering out the noise.
Exactly. Filters out the noise, and it focuses on the edits that actually look good.
How does it know it looks good?
Well, that's where it gets even cooler. It uses advanced language models.
Like GPT-4.
Yeah, like GPT-4.
Oh, wow.
So they use GPT-4 to judge the quality of the images, and that's how it picks out the best ones.
That's awesome. Okay, so we've got the specialist training and this fancy quality control filter. What's next?
All right, so this is where it gets a little bit more into the architecture. It uses something called EditNet.
Okay.
Which is basically a special brain designed to process the instructions and combine that with the actual image information.
So it's it understands what you're saying and it knows how to apply that to the picture.
Exactly.
Okay.
So that's what allows it to be really good at understanding those natural language commands and create those really nice edits.
Okay. I think I'm starting to get it. So we've covered 3.
Yeah.
What's the last big innovation?
Okay, so this one is maybe the most exciting. This one is it can handle images of any shape and size.
Oh, finally no more tiny squares.
Yeah, no more tiny squares.
This is real world applicable stuff.
Yes, exactly.
So you can use panoramic landscapes, portrait photos, even those weird memes that everyone loves.
Yeah, all of it, all the shapes, all the sizes, it can handle it.
All right, I'm officially intrigued, but how do we know it actually lives up to the hype? Did they test it?
Oh yeah, they tested it. They created a special benchmark called OMNI-EDIT bench.
Okay.
And they used real-world images.
Oh, nice.
From Pexels and LAION 5B, which is a huge database.
So they really put it through its paces.
Yeah, they did.
And how did it do?
It did amazing. It outperformed all the existing models.
Oh, wow. Okay, so this is sounding really good so far.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So we've got the 4 innovations down, but I'm dying to hear more about those 7 types of edits.
Oh, yeah, the 7 types of edits.
What kind of magic can this thing do?
Well, that's a great place to pick up. Let's dive into those next.
Yeah.
Yeah, so the cool thing is that they didn't design this to be a one-trick pony.
Okay.
They wanted it to be able to handle all sorts of edits that people might want to do in real life.
So, like, what kind of edits are we talking about?
Okay, so remember those 7 types we mentioned?
Yeah, the Magic 7.
The Magic 7. Well, those are like the different categories of edits that OMNI-EDIT can handle.
Okay, so give me the rundown.
Okay, so first off, we had the basics like object swapping and object removal.
Okay, so like replacing something or getting rid of something.
Like imagine you've got a vacation photo.
Yeah.
And there's like a trash can in the background.
Ugh, the worst.
Right? You can just tell OMNI-EDIT to like swap it out with a palm tree or something.
Oh, that's handy.
Or like if you've got a photo bomber in your family picture, you can just remove them.
Poof, they're gone.
Gone.
Okay, that's pretty cool. What else?
All right, so then we move into object addition.
Okay, so now we're adding stuff.
Yeah, so let's say you want to add like a flock of birds to your photo or like a rainbow or something.
Sounds whimsical.
Yeah, whimsical, and OMNI-EDIT can like seamlessly integrate those objects into the scene.
So it doesn't look like a cheap Photoshop job.
Nope. It looks totally natural, like they were always there.
All right, I'm liking this so far. What's next?
Okay, so then we have attribute modification.
Okay, that sounds a little bit more complex.
It is, but it's also super cool. So basically, you can change like specific characteristics of objects in the image.
Okay, so like what kind of characteristics?
Like you could change the color of a car or adjust the brightness of a lamp.
So I could finally make my eyes less red in photos.
Exactly.
Awesome. Okay, so we can add stuff, we can remove stuff, we can change stuff. What else can we do?
All right, so now we get to the really exciting stuff. Remember those earlier models that struggled with backgrounds?
Oh, yeah. Those are pretty useless.
Yeah, well, OMNI-EDIT can do background swapping like no problem.
Really?
Yeah, so you could be in your boring office cubicle and boom, you're suddenly on a tropical beach.
Sign me up.
And it all looks totally realistic, like the lighting matches and everything.
That's amazing. Okay, so background swapping is covered. What about like the whole environment?
Well, they thought of that too. It can do environment change.
So like day to night kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Or like sunny to stormy. You could take a daytime photo and make it look like a nighttime cityscape.
Okay, I'm seeing the possibilities here. This is getting good. What's the last one?
Okay, so the last one is style transfer. And this is where things get really artistic.
Okay, I'm intrigued.
So OMNI-EDIT can analyze the style of like the reference image, like a famous painting.
Oh, wow.
And then it can apply that style to your photo.
So you could turn a regular photo into like a Van Gogh or a Picasso.
Exactly, or like a film noir, so like those black and white movies.
That is so cool. Okay, so we've got object swapping, removing, adding attribute modification, background swapping, environment change, and style transfer.
That's all 7.
That's a lot of editing power.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing.
So how do we know it's actually good at all these things? Did they like compare it to other AI editors?
Yeah, they did. They tested it against some of the leading AI image editors out there. It crushed them. It consistently outperformed them in like every category.
So not only can it do all these crazy edits, but it does them really well.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm sold. But they didn't just like check the boxes, did they? They made sure the edits actually looked good.
Oh, yeah. They went above and beyond on the quality control.
Okay, good. Because I've seen some of those AI image editors that produce some pretty wonky results.
Yeah, I know what you mean. And a lot of that comes down to like the data they're trained on.
Okay, so how did OMNI-EDIT avoid that?
Well, they did something really clever. They used GPT-4.
The AI superstar.
Yeah, the one and only. So they used GPT-4 to actually judge the quality of the training data.
Oh, wow. So they're using AI to train AI.
Exactly. It's like AI inception.
So GPT-4 is like the ultimate art critic, making sure only the best images get in.
Exactly. It's like having a team of experts curating the data.
Okay, that's a pretty high bar. But didn't using GPT-4 slow things down?
It could have, but they found a workaround. They used GPT-4 to train a smaller model called Intern VL2.
Okay.
And Intern VL2 is the one that actually does the quality assessment during training.
So GPT-4 is like the master teaching the apprentice.
Exactly.
That's awesome. Okay, so by using this two-step process, they were able to leverage the power of GPT-4 without sacrificing speed.
Yeah, pretty clever, right?
Very clever. Okay, so we've talked about all the technical stuff, but what does this actually mean for the future of image editing? Like, are we all going to be AI-powered artists now?
Well, maybe not all of us, but it's definitely a sign of things to come.
Yeah.
I think this technology has the potential to make image editing way more accessible and intuitive.
So you don't need to be a Photoshop wizard to create amazing images.
Exactly. You just tell the AI what you want, and it does it for you.
That's a pretty exciting future.
It is, and this is just the beginning.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see a lot more innovation in this space in the coming years.
Okay, so before we get too carried away with the future, there's one more thing I want to talk about, and that's the whole aspect ratio thing.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
So tell me, why is this such a game changer for OMNI-EDIT?
It's a big deal because it means that OMNI-EDIT can handle like pretty much any image you throw at it.
Okay, so what's the big deal with aspect ratios?
Well, think about all the different shapes and sizes of images we see every day. You've got like your square Instagram posts, and then you've got those widescreen movies.
Right, and like vertical videos on TikTok.
Exactly, and everything in between, like photos and artwork and stuff.
Yeah, it's true. I never really thought about it, but there's like a whole world of different proportions out there.
Yeah, and that's where a lot of those earlier AI editors kind of fell apart.
Really?
Yeah, they were mostly trained on those perfectly square images. So when you tried to edit something that wasn't a square, it would like get all messed up.
Oh, so it's like they were only good at one specific thing.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, so how is OMNI-EDIT different?
Well, remember how we talked about it being trained on all those images from Pexels and LAION 5B?
Yeah, those huge data sets.
Right. Well, those data sets included images with all sorts of different aspect ratios, not just squares.
So it learned to be more flexible.
Exactly. It was exposed to a wider range of shapes and sizes from the very beginning.
Okay, that makes sense. So it's like it can adapt to whatever you give it.
Right. And to make sure it could really handle anything they threw at it, they designed that OMNI-EDIT benchmark to include a bunch of different aspect ratios.
Like what kind of ratios?
Like all the common ones you see, like 1.1, which is square, and then 2.3, 3.2, 4.3, 9.16.
Okay, so like portrait, landscape, widescreen, all that.
Yeah, all of it.
So basically they made sure it could handle real world images, not just those perfect squares.
Exactly. They wanted to make sure it was actually useful for people.
Okay, so the big question, did it pass the test?
It did with flying colors.
Really?
Yeah, it performed really well across all the different aspect ratios.
That's awesome. So it can edit like panoramic landscapes and portrait photos and everything in between without getting all wonky.
Exactly. It's the real deal.
This is incredible. I mean, this whole deep dive has been mind-blowing. We talked about so much cool stuff.
I know. It's amazing how fast this technology is evolving.
Yeah, it feels like we're on the cusp of something really big here.
I think so too, and I'm excited to see where it goes from here.
Okay, so big picture. What do you think this means for the future of image editing?
Well, I think it has the potential to make image editing way more accessible to everyone.
So like you don't need to be a Photoshop expert to create amazing images.
Exactly. You can just use natural language to tell the AI what you want.
That's a game changer.
It is. And it could open up a whole new world of creative possibilities.
Imagine a world where anyone can create stunning visuals just by describing what they want to see.
That's the future we're heading towards, and it's pretty exciting.
I can't wait to see what they come up with next.
Me either.
Well, this has been an awesome deep dive. Thanks for breaking it all down for us.
Of course, it was my pleasure.
And for our listeners out there, be sure to check out the show notes for links to the research and some visual demos of OMNI-EDIT in action.
You won't be disappointed.
And join the conversation on our social media channels. We want to hear your thoughts on this groundbreaking technology.
Let's keep the discussion going.
Thanks for tuning in to the deep dive. We'll see you next time.
See you later.